Okay, so this video is going to take a very long time to shoot. Now what this is, I'm going to, after I wake up every morning, if I can remember the dream I had the night before, I'm going to record a little plot summary / synopsis of what happened in my dream. So I have some pretty fucking weird dreams, and I want to share them. So the nightmare was, I was in a black, like pitch black dark room with a very bright light above me, and I was laying on like this hospital bed or gurney. My shirt was off. I had dotted lines all down across my chest and like a cross. I remember someone, I don't know who, it was some man, I know it was a man, he just came into the room. I could not understand a word he said, but I knew the intention was clear. He wanted to cut me open and operate on me. I don't know why. It was really fucking weird. I couldn't see his face. He was wearing like a plague doctor mask. So when I woke up, I was just lying in my bed. My blanket is on the floor. I'm laying spread out like this. Legs, arms, just everything, like spread eagle on my back. My shirt was pulled up. My animals were nowhere near me as they usually are when I sleep. Oh man, that was fucking weird. Okay, so this dream was weird because it's something my friend totally wouldn't do in real life. So, in my dream, my friend had come to me and he says, "Hey, I just bought this farm. Do you want to come by and check it out?" And I'm just like, what the fuck, he bought a farm? Alright, so we head over to his farm, and currently it's all, you know, just barren. The buildings are empty because he hadn't moved in yet. They need a lot of repair and fixing up. So it looks kind of creepy. But there's this one barn house out in the distance that, for whatever reason, just piqued my interest. So I was like, hey, I want to check out that one. We'll get to the main one soon. I just want to check out this one over there. And I pointed to it. And he was like, oh, okay, sure, fine. So we go over to this weird rundown little barn house off in the distance. As we're walking through the fields, there's just this little girl just like staring directly at me through the window. She had like these piercing blue eyes, and she had on like this white dress. She could have only been like 9 or 10 years old. I don't know, it was strange. So I was like, okay, who the hell is that? And my friend goes, "There's no one there." I'm like, "No, you don't see that little girl in the window right there?" And he goes, "No, nobody's there, dude. What the fuck? Are you on crack?" So we enter this house, and then as soon as we enter the barn house, I just hear this creepy fucking like singing, like humming, like I start freaking out. I'm telling my friend, I'm like, okay, I changed my mind, let's go to the main house now. And he's just like, no, we have to stay in here now. And then he fucking stabs me in the back. And as I fall down to the ground, about to die, as he keeps stabbing me, the little girl just gets up right in my face and just says, "Hello." And then that was the end of the dream. Okay, so this one is going to be a little shorter than the other ones. I've had this recurring nightmare about once every 2 weeks since middle school. It's always the same, nothing ever changes, and I don't like it at all. I'm sure it has some really deep meaning, but I don't know what it could be. But it goes like this. It is pitch black out. The only light that there is are these sort of like 1800s style street lamps along this trail in the middle of the woods. And as I walk along this trail, I eventually come to a small clearing with a tiny cabin in the center. The only light coming from the cabin is from a candle in the window, and like the dumbass that I am, I enter the cabin. It's a nice small little cozy cabin until I get attacked. Who are my attackers? Vampires. They don't jump in all at once. It's one at a time. One vampire enters the cabin, and I try to fight with it. And then another one. And then another one. Until this swarm of about 5 to 10 vampires storm the cabin and just tear me apart. Again, I'm sure it has some deeper meaning than just vampires killing me in a cabin in the middle of the woods. But as far as that meaning is, I have no idea what it is, and I don't know why this is such a recurring nightmare. Again, I've had this at least once every 2 weeks since middle school. For about 10 years I've had this nightmare every every 2 weeks, maybe every 3 weeks, but I've had it all the time and it's always the same ever since 10 years ago. Okay, so this latest dream, I wouldn't even classify it as a bad dream or a nightmare, it was just strange. So, in the dream, I'm hanging out with my buddy Brett, and if you've been following my channel for however long, you know who Brett is. So we're hanging out, and for whatever reason, we just got in our heads, like, I have an idea, let's steal the Necronomicon. Because that's a totally normal thought that people have. So the first logical place that we think of when we decide to go on this journey to steal the Necronomicon is the downtown branch library. But we go there at like 3 in the morning and bypass all of the security measures and end up inside the library at like 3 in the morning. So once we're inside, we search through the historical section on the 3rd floor, and while we don't come across any H.P. Lovecraft books, we do come across demonology books. And among some of these demonology books are books on witchcraft and things along those lines. But we don't find the Necronomicon there. So we're like, okay, where would they keep a book that can supposedly bring beings such as Cthulhu to the mortal realm? So in classic movie fashion, we decide, let's go to the basement. So we head down to the basement of the library, and we rummage through all these old, dusty, gross books. And about an hour of searching later, we find the Necronomicon just chilling in some corner in the basement. But as soon as we touch it, something strange happens. We don't summon Cthulhu or any other eldritch being. We alert the security. Yes, the Necronomicon was just a decoy where if you touch it, it sets off some sort of alarm. So, long story short, Brett and I get arrested for trying to steal the Necronomicon, and that was the end of the dream. Like I said, I wouldn't consider that a nightmare or a bad dream. It was just really, really weird. So, I don't know why this one came to me randomly, because I've not seen any of the Child's Play movies in like well over a year and a half, but this one involved a killer doll, but who wasn't like Chucky. Instead, he used his head as a weapon. Now in this dream I was living in like Florida instead of Ohio for whatever reason, and I had found an abandoned warehouse near where I lived there. And this warehouse contained just boxes upon boxes of unreleased products from a local factory. One of them stood out, and it was the box that the doll came in. Now I don't remember the name of the doll, all I know is that he had black hair, green eyes, and again used its head as a weapon. So I had unboxed the doll, and I decided, well, I should bring it home, like a dumbass. And that night is when it started attacking people. Now the way it would attack people is that it would take off its head, just yank it right off its neck, and then through supernatural means would stretch it over another person's head and then squeeze it until it exploded into nothingness. So I watched as it killed both my sisters, my brother, my parents, some really good friends of mine, and then eventually it came towards me, and that's where the dream ended. So I was staying at my friend's house. We were up all night playing video games, recording YouTube videos, the usual. And the time came to, you know, go to bed. So I was laying down on like this military cot that he had set out for me next to his bed. And then from the corner of my eye, crawling through the doorway to his bedroom, it was just this black, lanky mass of I don't know what. So my first instinct was to look away because I didn't want to believe it was real. And then eventually I went to sleep. But later that night I woke back up and headed upstairs to get a glass of water. And again, just out of my peripheral vision, I see the black mass squatting on top of his refrigerator, ready to pounce. Again, I averted my gaze and just concentrated on getting a glass of water. As the glass is half full, my friend comes up from his bedroom, walks into the kitchen to see what I'm doing. And as he stops by the refrigerator to ask what I'm doing, the mass jumps from the refrigerator on top of him and just starts tangling him up in these black tendril tentacle things, like completely enveloping him. And when it was done with him, it came for me. The last thing I remember about that dream is not being able to breathe. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it took a while to film, but hopefully you guys enjoy it and like hearing about my weird ass nightmares and dreams and whatnot. So if you liked the video, hit a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, consider subscribing. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.
Have I been gone for so long that you've forgotten about me? How dare you have forgotten about me? I'll be back soon. Just you wait and see. This body is mine, and there's nothing that you can do to stop me from taking control.